Welcome to the channel, people. Today is Tutorial Tuesday, and we are going to be doing a little bit of stain art. With Christmas coming up, these are really cute little projects just to give somebody something different, or, you know, create your own decor. Takes a little bit of patience, but they're really unique looking. If you guys are like, what is that? Let me get this little piece for you guys to see. Here's one I have that I did that I have not had the heart to sell yet. I love this piece, but this is stain art. This is one of my favorite things to do on this channel. First thing I want to talk about is your colors. We will get to this. I already told you we're using wood, right? Okay. Wood works best for all of this. You can use a bunch of colors. I honestly, for creating stain art, now if you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm Brandi, and on these tutorials, I'm long-winded, so just hold on, okay? Well, these are meant to be long, okay? They're meant. I'm breaking them down, and you guys just are stuck with me and my personality, okay? Okay. For stain art, I really like using acrylic paints because they mix really well with water and they don't have like a thick clumpiness to them. Chalk paints, completely different. You can water these down as well. I've done it in a pinch when I don't have acrylic colors that I'm looking for. Like right now I'm out of white. Can you believe that? So I'm out of white acrylic paint. So I've been sucking this up. I got these off whites, and what is this one? It's a vanilla. So anyhow, getting back to that, these will, once you water these down, and even once they dry on your surface, you can take your finger and go like this, and the chalkiness will kind of wipe off, and it could even smear on here. So that's one of the reasons why I only use these in a pinch, and I try to make sure I seal right over it as soon as I have to use them in a pinch, because any little misstep and we could cause smearing or just bleeding your color off your project. So that is why I like using the acrylic paints. These actually go really well with water, and my empty bowl, they go really well with my empty bowl. They go really well with water, and you can go ahead and use this, or the antique Waverly wax works really well, which is what we're going to use today. Real quick before we get started, because I don't want you guys to try this and then be like, Brandi, it did not work out for me. There are several different kinds of wood that you guys can get, and some of them are going to work for you and other ones are not going to work for you. Prime example, this is a very beautiful sanded down popular board that you can purchase at Home Depot, Lowe's. It is absolutely gorgeous. It's nice and smooth, and I'm going to show you real quick what happens if you try to do some stain art on here. If you've watched me for any length of time, you've probably seen, is this going to come out? Okay. All you need is a little bit to get your color going on in there. Okay, and I'm using red, so this way you guys can really see it. I'm not actually using that for the stencil, but watch this. So again, completely smooth, really nice. Okay, so it doesn't absorb extremely well in here. Okay, it's going to take you doing this a couple times to get this in here. This right here, this is balsa wood. I don't know how to explain this other than the fact that it bleeds. Now just wait a second and watch that. You do not want to do stain art on pieces like this. See how it's starting to bleed out? If you're new to DIYs and you're not 100% on what types of wood will bleed or stain really well, you want to use ones that have porous surfaces. Usually these pieces, I do not have a problem with these. So I'm just gonna let it go. There it is. Yep, it went right in. Okay, and there's no bleeding, like a charm. Also, the pieces, and I'll do it again just so you guys can see a bigger piece. Okay, so you want to be careful with these. And if I do a lot, it will run. So let me just do, there it goes. So no matter how nice your piece of wood is, if your brush is overly saturated, it's going to bleed. You want to keep it in a consistency. See how beautiful that is? It's just straight down. You want to keep it light and thin so you do not have that issue. This is a pack of stencils I purchased off Amazon. You guys are welcome to use whatever stencils you want. I'm really just going to kind of use some of this to create our ornament look. Okay. And you, again, you can, as you've seen in the piece that I showed you earlier, if you want to do this and create colors inside of your stencil, we're going to kind of do a reverse one where we're going to outline and just keep the certain sections that we outline completely open. So starting off, I'm just going to kind of give a rough trace in all the little sections that I want to keep on our little ornament decor piece. And I'm going to speed this up right here for you guys so you don't have to watch me trace every little thing.
Jingle bells ringing in my ear. Jingle bell, a sound that's oh so dear. Frosty the snowman is all around town.
There are a ton of different ways you can create these little pieces, and I'm sure as the seasons go on and the years go on, I will be showing you guys different ones. But today I just want to create one that looks like an ornament, and I just traced the inside of the entire stencil, so I have it here. Now we're going to use Antique Waverly Wax because it's one of my favorites, and a teeny tiny paintbrush because it's just going to be the easiest to get in here. And we're going to use a little bit of water with this to make it easier to move this around. Okay, that's going to be crucial for this. So make sure you do use a little bit of water. You don't have to get too crazy, add a whole lot of water. You could literally use, let me show you. Like here's one of my little cups. You could literally just put a little bit, well, this sucker's dusty. Let me get the dust out of there. Ugh. Okay. Woof. Okay. So now we're just going to spray a little bit of water in there. And then say it's not a lot, right? And just put a little bit of this in there. Not a whole lot. Just a little bit. And this is all we're going to need. And we're going to use this to go around the stencil. So we just have our stencil here. I know you guys are like, Brandi, what are we doing? But I promise it is such, first of all, it's fun. And when you've had a day like I've had a morning, and oh my gosh, my issues at the post office, don't even get me started. But I love, this kind of allows me to kind of reset doing some stain art. I was like, what can I bring you guys today that's going to be therapeutic for me? And this. So I'm actually really excited about this. So first we're going to start, and we're going to make sure you do not, remember I showed you it's going to bleed. So you do not want to have your brush overly saturated. And we're just going to start from the center and work our way out, and just be careful with it. As you go, you do not need to have the water. You can just take the dark spots on the edges. And the closer you are to your piece in the center here, you're going to just kind of bring it out. And this is kind of like watercolor painting, which is fun if you're good at that as well. There are so many different variations of being able to create things with this. I just absolutely love it. I really don't like this brush. Let me switch it. See, it keeps separating. Can you see that? See that little gap in there? It's not making it easy for me. I don't like it. And it's also a little too watery for me, so I'm gonna just keep the cap right here so I can use the water as I go. the whole center here colored in. And as you've been watching me go, you can see like there's thicker areas. And if you don't like, if it's clumping, take a little bit of the water. This is one of the reasons why I love doing this and using Antique Waverly wax, because you can just move that wax right on around. It does not dry extremely quick, and it allows you to manipulate it and create shading effects in different areas. All right, 15 minutes later. Now, if you get to this point and let's say yours is starting to look a little bit like that. You can see how it's kind of splotchy here. Same thing with here, like you can see the paint brushes. It doesn't, or stroke marks, I should say. It doesn't look like it's just one continuous piece. We are going to blend that out. This is what I love about this and using the water. Oh, we're good. Oops, we're okay. I will fix it. This is what I love about this. So when you're doing little intricate details like this, if you got a light hand and you're confident about your water not bleeding, I'm not always that confident, but if you are, you know, good job. In some cases, you may have it like this. Take a little bit of water, okay, a little bit, don't get too wild, and slowly start blending these paintbrush strokes out. So this way they do not look like you were just trying to cover up your pencil marks. They're gonna start blending. And again, a little bit of water. This is definitely a DIY project for somebody that has some patience and just likes, I absolutely love painting and crafting and doing little detailed things like this, especially if I have time for it. I'm like, oh, I could sit and do this all day. So just, oh goodness, it's getting blurry. I wasn't looking at the camera, my bad. So I don't know how long that was blurry. I'll have to look back at the film. So if you quickly do it and you can see the little brush strokes everywhere like this one, I'm going to blend this one out too. Just add a little bit of water, take your time, and go back in and do it. And if you want, you can even add more of this in and then go back and fix it with the water. It is definitely like I said, definitely a little bit of patience going on in here with this, but I absolutely love doing this. So pretty. It turns out so good. You guys will have to let me know in the comments below if you guys are going to try this. This is definitely not the first time or the second time you've seen this if you're familiar with my content, but it's definitely the first time that I have went into extreme detail and showed so much close-ups of how to get this done.
The wonders of life got the prettiest side for everyone to enjoy. Standing up close by the Christmas tree, glimmering light, I am right where I wanna be. I will be home for a couple of days, wander around with you.
I have this all colored in and it's starting to dry, and I can see different now, like where this is changed. And I really want like the center of this to be a little bit darker than the rest and just kind of like come out, if that makes sense, like blend out. So I'm just going to add a little bit extra of that color around the center here so it looks faded, and just kind of pull the color away. So this way it all blends in and gets lighter as it goes out. And then I want these edges around here shaded as well. And then we are going to just come in and do the rest of the piece. But don't be afraid to shade and blend and mess with this as much as you want. It will, especially if you're using antique Waverly wax to do this, this stuff is very forgiving, which is why I wanted to use this instead of a paint. A paint is not so forgiving doing this because it mostly just kind of goes in the spot. This really lets you kind of wiggle it around and blend a little bit more and bring out that wood color. All the ends are tied in here, and I'm just gonna kind of dry this a bit, and then we're gonna go in and touch up, add a little bit of shading, and then we're gonna erase that pencil. If you can see some of these brush strokes in here, this is where you can now go back in and you can add some more of this just to blend out even more, and just pull it into the rest of your stain and then fan it out like that. Since your whole piece is now colored, adding the extra hints in here to keep that main design highlighted is super easy. I am super happy with this. So there's still some wet spots. I'm going to dry this and then we're going to erase our pencil. Once you're happy with your drying, and you can let this dry as long as you want, you just want to go in and get rid of the pencil marks. Especially if you're selling the pieces, you don't want anybody to know that you traced it, you know. So you just go in and start erasing all the little marks. If you want to, you're welcome to leave the piece like this. You can even go in with some of your antique Waverly wax and darken up or make some pieces a little bit more defined. Or you can take a little bit of paint, and we have some bleed through on certain little sections like right here. And I'm just going to kind of swoop in like that and then just kind of blend it out with my finger. You need to be gentle with that so you do not kind of drag it in. But you want the wood to show through. You don't want to cover up your beautiful wood. That is the whole point of the stain art, is to allow that gorgeous wood to show through. Pretty much it for our little stencil stain art. Let me know in the comments below how you guys enjoyed this tutorial. I'm going to add our little hanger over here. Stick around for the reveal. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Until next time, bye!